And one thing that UROP values is access and equity to a very high impact practice and providing meaningful and quality engagement and learning.
Community college summer fellowship program was, in my mind, the reason that I'm even here at the University of Michigan.
I really didn't have that much knowledge of Detroit, surprisingly, even though it's not that far away. We used to go there for like the car show in the winter or like for musicals and theater programs, but I really didn't explore the outside of the downtown culture until this past summer with the Detroit Community Engaged Research Program.
I chose U of M, one, because of location and the experience that U of M had. So I knew that being someone interested in pre-med, that U of M will have a boatload of opportunities and also a network that I cannot deny of the size and the opportunities that holds. When it comes to research, I was interested at going into undergrad. And when I saw UROP, I was highly interested. And when it came to the summer programs, I was even more interested due to the fact that it was based in my hometown, Detroit. And so when I saw the DC UROP program and that you would be working with various topics, social justice, education, really interests me. And so I wanted to apply, and it was one of the best decisions and best research experiences that I've ever had.
The research I was working on, it was called a responsive curriculum. I was working on a project that was supposed to serve a population that looks like me. I was able to bring my experiences as a Latino student and an international student to the table, and that made the experience so meaningful, very meaningful.
So we decided to proceed with all of our 8 summer research fellowships remotely, keeping in mind that we, again, represent all diverse disciplines and fields, including community engaged research. So working with our community engaged partners in Detroit, et cetera.
DPSCD being very low in education, I thought that was a great place to start. And also as a graduate of DPSCD myself, an even better place where I can immerse my own experience and my knowledge from U of M all into one experience.
Yeah, I think research is incredibly important for allowing students to pursue their own passions in their own way. Especially with the program that I did, I was able to design a project that I really wanted to lead and something that I was really interested in. And I think that's a really unique experience that not a lot of students have on campus that aren't University of Michigan, that don't have a large research base. So I think it's really important to be able to explore what we want to discover too.
When I was working with Dr. Spence and Dr. Suksawan, I really felt like I was participating in an endeavor that literally spans centuries, if not a millennia or several millennia.
I had no idea about. And the legality of education is insane. That made me realize that, yes, I have this experience, but also it takes a lot of work. So that's what I think intersected the community and research in that specific moment. So I know as a community member, and I know from research about education, but those two things coincided so well in that moment.
And I think that in order for us to best help or best serve these communities is to listen from the perspective of their own people and see what they need.
I learned that education is all listening. And even though I'm pre-med, that has taught me so much about active listening and hearing what the community needs and wants and being on the front line.
What we found was that students were extremely appreciative of that. Very hard to find jobs right now, let alone paid jobs right now. And for many of our students, that's a reality. More than 80% of the student population in our summer fellows are low income and or first generation. And so this is important to them.
And what I've noticed at U of M is that a lot of students want to push through it and work 7 different jobs just to try to make ends meet. And it doesn't have to be that way. And we have to ask for help. And so that's why I'm so grateful for fellowships where I can do the work that I want while also supporting myself and not feeling like I have to find 3 different jobs just to pay rent.
I come from a low income background. I live in one of the poorest districts in the entire state. There are a lot of students that, like myself, that wouldn't be able to afford doing an unpaid internship. during the summer, I try to save for the semester and for the next academic year. That's the implication. And I know that for a lot of community college students, especially, that is a reality, that if they don't have this type of, financial support, research is simply out of the question.
Interacting with professors, with graduate students, with other people that I met on campus and in the program who all said, like, you belong here, like you should be here. Who knew, I told my background and they said, like, yeah, that was a while ago. It's time for you to move on and let go of that, because you still do have a brain. That was huge. That was really huge.
We want to think of research as this tool to contribute to society. I think it's very important that underrepresented students are participating in that process.
I think that is a lot of value, because I do know people who, that when they joined, this was something that they wanted to do. They could see themselves working at a lab, and seeing the routine, seeing how they were managed, learning that environment was not as inaccessible as they may have once believed, really motivated them and really changed the trajectory of their lives.
Having payment was the icing on the cake for me and made it feasible, quite frankly. That was such a relief for me, where I got to focus solely on the project and give 1000% to it and work towards it without having that financial burden, because that is a huge strain.
I just want to say that I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity that these donors' money provided me, because it has changed my life. It has changed the trajectory of my life. I was a barista living a block and a half north of the Deep Hood in Detroit, like Curtis in Wyoming, in an old house whose basement flooded every winter. And yeah, now I am going to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, I can't, as you can see, I'm frequently at a loss for words, but I really can't articulate what that means, right? Within the span of a year, literally, it's opened a door that I thought would be closed to me forever. And it's all because of the generosity of someone I do not know and will likely never meet.